Masters Club in Central Vermont in January 2020 to learn how to exploit chances to speak up at work more frequently and effectively. As 2021-22 president of Savvy Speakers and a member of the D45 Growth Committee, she appreciates the support that Toastmasters has provided during the pandemic and is committed to her club's health and helping communities see what Toastmaster has to offer. In her day job, Elise is an analyst assessing the impact of strategic communication campaigns. Mentors make a big impact. They help the members of a newly chartered club invest in their future success. After a flurry of hard work, enthusiasm, and community celebrations, a new club successfully charters. The sponsor passes the baton to the mentor who guides the club in its new pursuits of continuing success. Active and informed mentors are vital to a new club's sustainable success. Are you ready to step up as a mentor? We will cover how to navigate the key milestones of a new club's first year, successfully mentor a new club through the growth season, and build a foundation for a successful, sustainable, viable new club. Make an impact as a club mentor. Please help me welcome Elise Thorsen.
All right, let's see if we can do this. Okay. I don't know about everybody else, but I have really been inspired by the past morning's examples of success that can be achieved at the individual, team, and club levels. And since we had a chance to think about these things and consider them internally, I'd like to take a little bit of time to practice imagining and visualizing what a successful club looks like. So I'm going to lead you through what I hope is going to be a short visualization of what we think of when we think of success. So imagine for yourself right now, a successful club. There are questions that we're going to want to answer. Maybe something as simple as, how often does the club meet? Are we thinking about a club that meets every week? What time of the day? What day of the week? How often? And for how long? How long are you going to be sitting with the same people, with these people? Who are you seeing in this successful club? What do they look like? How old are they? What are their professions? What are their roles in the community around us? Are those things even important to you, or are you more interested in their motivations? And do you see them, do you see them on a screen in a virtual format, or do you see them in person all around you? Are they sitting around a table with you, or three rows ahead of you in a big old auditorium because you're that successful as a club? What does the club space look like? Do members seem to have a good sense of how they're presenting themselves on Zoom? Does the space have an attractive decoration? Is it well set up for people? How many people are there? Do you have enough for an intimate table topic session where everybody can participate, or are you looking for a massive audience that is ready to applaud the prepared speeches that members have gotten ready for us all? All right, so, okay, moving on with how club success can be visualized. How are guests treated? When a guest arrives, how do you single them out as welcome while also not making them feel awkward for being singled out? And how do you make sure that the meeting flows along and while also keeping them in the loop about what's going on? The question that a successful club needs to answer and can answer in many different ways. A successful club is advertising itself. In your mind, how is this successful club advertising itself? How is it getting the word out that there are really awesome things happening in this club to the community around it? What kinds of events are we holding as a successful club? Open houses, socials, themed meetings. How do you make sure that members are renewing in a successful club? It takes some forward planning. And what does that forward planning look like? Do you know who is running for club office in this successful club? Do you know what contests are going to look like? Who's going to judge and who's going to time? How are people going to engage? Okay, I promise I'm getting to the end, but how are new members introduced to projects and roles? How are we making sure that people are participating actively throughout the entire, from meeting to meeting, say? I apologize, this isn't really getting short anymore as a visualization of a successful club. And to be honest, this is not even an exhaustive list of all the things one has to think about in order to assure club success. But it is exhausting, I have to say that. And the thing that we've got going for us when we as Toastmasters are looking at this list is that we know we have some experience on our hands and we know that there's a team that is out there working to make these things happen. It's not just, it's the members, it's the club officers, it's everybody from the area to the district level. It's all there layered, making sure that we are out looking for club success. And even if we don't really know how to juggle all of these things, plus in this list, we do know if we were to be asked one of these questions, as experienced Toastmasters, we could probably get around to saying, yeah, I have a pretty specific vision of how a club can advertise itself. And it might not be the vision that my neighbor has, but we can talk about it and come to some sort of concrete action plan. But you know who doesn't have that experience? A new club. A new club might be made up of majority or even all people who are new to Toastmasters, who don't even have the vision based on experience of either a successful club or a struggling club to really have that kind of vision and hash those things out in their success plans. Enter the club mentor. Club mentors are part of the team that is, club mentors are part of the team of sponsors and mentors who are assigned to a club as it's seeking to charter and become a part of the district. They're experienced Toastmasters and and generally there to provide guidance and feedback to the club officers in order to, the club and the club officers, in order to make sure that they are set up for success from the pre-charter stage when they're first assigned to the club to the end of the growth cycle for the club, which is likely to be 2 years, a year down, not 2 years, a year down the road, because that's our membership cycle, that's our dues cycle, and election cycle in general. All right, so what does this role entail? I don't know who's here in this room with me because of the way that Zoom is set up, and I also just don't know everybody personally. But I imagine that there's a range of experience with the role of club mentor, ranging from I've seen it on the list of requirements or possible ways of meeting your DTM requirements, to people who have been club mentors and are just interested in seeing what some jerk has to say about it. I am not personally a club mentor, club mentor, but I do want to assure those people who have come in not knowing anything about club mentorship that this is the product of not just a few months of intensive looking at what the mentor role is, but also the product of a supportive club growth committee giving feedback on what this role should entail if it is going to set up clubs for success. So I hope that those who have experienced as club mentors walk away with an appreciation of the impact they have on club success, and that those who have not been club mentors yet have a sense of just the concrete requirements and also how fulfilling it can be. And for those of you who just wandered into this room because you like me or something and have no interest in club mentorship at all, I want to say that new club quality is kind of just the same thing as club quality. So I hope that you take away from this conversation that I'm having with myself some ideas about how to be good stewards of your own club's qualities, or the quality of your own clubs, let's say. All right, so that's who the club mentor is, and that's who you are so far. I think I've covered all the bases of what you could possibly be interested in here. All right, so what do you do as a club mentor? The first thing you do as a club mentor is you show up to all the meetings. Basically, as soon as you're assigned, so this could be pre-charter. I know that I said that it's post-charter, but you really want to show up and be talking to the sponsor, the club sponsors, in order to assure a sense of continuity. What does the club expect from its inception? Why did they decide to incorporate as a club in the first place? Through the end, through charter, rather. And that's when you're the person who has to show up all the time. And what does this mean to show up? It means to show up to the club meetings and observe club quality there. And it means showing up to the executive committee meetings and giving feedback to the executive committee about their activities and their plans. And this goes for 6 to 12 months, again, depending on if you've hit all the milestones you intend to hit with them. And the outcome of this, the first outcome, the most important outcome, is that the meetings actually happen. You're just there as an assurance that the meetings happen. And so that people are communicating, people have the opportunity to pursue success within the Toastmasters framework, that executive committee members are planning for success with each other. And that really is the most important thing. If you don't have regular EC meetings, you're not going to have a club that's planning for success. Moreover, these all give you plenty of evidence in order to understand, plenty of evidence for the feedback that you are obliged to offer to clubs and their officers. So show up. That's the basic thing. You also, as an experienced Toastmaster, know what the resources are in a way that maybe the club does not. And so there are a few resources that you should make a plan to present to the club and to the officers as in a structured format. One of them is pathways. We just have to get those members enrolled in pathways and exploring it and progressing through pathways. And that means exposing them to it over and over. And it also means being willing to provide your expertise as an experienced Toastmaster to individuals who ask for that. Club officers may not be particularly capable of navigating Club Central, but it's a really essential way to record the credit of the credit for what they've been doing and make sure that they're making progress towards their club goals. And most importantly, as a Toastmaster who knows other Toastmasters, wow, a Toastmaster who knows other Toastmasters, we have the opportunity to introduce officers and members to their area, division, and district resources. And you are a key point of networking for them and making sure that they're able to talk to their area director, for example, is huge, that they know that that's an expected mode of communication. On this, all these things are pretty familiar. Officer training is TLI. You need to make sure that they're all ready to do membership renewals and that there's a new slate of officers come June of the next year. And that members either have club speech contests or are able to participate in area and beyond speech contests. And that all of this is collected into a club success plan. And the thing that I'll say that is most important here for the experienced Toastmaster is that we know that it takes time to get these things set up. So where a new club's executive committee might say, oh gosh, we have to figure out membership renewals in the next 2 weeks or due. We know that membership renewals and dues collection begin months before their deadlines. And being able to give guidance on the appropriate timelines for collecting dues, for recruiting, for informing members about officer roles and recruiting new officers. All of these things take time, and it's best if you can say, okay, it's about time to start thinking about this. It's 3 months away, but it's time to start thinking about it. That's where you, with experience, have a huge amount to offer. And then finally, there's feedback on what clubs ought to be doing. And this is all, again, about observation. It's seeing, oh, I see regular pathways project speeches are occurring. I see public relations are being implemented. They're planned and implemented. And I see you welcoming guests and converting them to members in a safe and welcoming club environment. All right. And this is the thing, when I'm talking about feedback and guidance and presenting resources and just being there, but the club has to practice its own success. You can't make people do things. We're a volunteer society that if they don't want to do it, they won't do it. But what you can do is point out the gaps, say where the visions are incomplete, and really listen and watch for what those visions are and articulate back to them what you see, so that the club is set up to pursue its own success well after you leave. And yeah, and one more thing that I'd like to mention on practicing its own success is it's important to align yourself with the club's expectations. So think about fit. If you are somebody with corporate club experience, people need to have corporate club experience guiding them in forming corporate clubs. If you have experience with speakers of English as a second language or a foreign language, that is also a really great resource to offer to clubs that are planning to charter around that community. So I would recommend reaching out if you have any experience, or if you'd just like to learn where you fit in to the club growth plans. I would really recommend reaching out to Sherry McDonald, our current club growth director. And when the clubs arise, there's going to be a fit there for you at some point, and it's going to be brilliant because of that, because you put that time in. We are in fact concluding right on time, because the last step, we were talking about all these skills that people need in order to people need to practice in order to have a successful club. But celebrating success is a skill in and of itself. And we need to make sure that we loudly celebrate every single success there is in the club. From the first icebreaker to meeting those annual growth goals, this is huge, and it really does take practice. And the one thing I do want to say to you as we leave is I celebrate you for coming out today and making sure that you have a better idea of how to support our new clubs in District 45. You didn't have to, and you did, and I celebrate that. Thank you.
Thank you, Elise.
Let's choose. Okay, so we have somebody else.